Hi, I'm William,
And I'm Kat,
and that makes this Info on the Go.
answering questions you want to know.
So, Kat, we're calling this one, Annabelle's Threat of Terror, and we're kind of going to get into it, of what we're talking about here, but to kind of like set how fear goes, some fear comes with fangs, some fear lurks in shadows, some fear it could be scarecrows, right?
Hmm.
Um, but honestly and truly, the most unsettling kind of fear is ones that wear stitched smiles, right?
Absolutely. Any kind of portrayal of a stitched smile has got me.
Yeah, I guess you want to take on the facts here about Annabelle.
Yes. So Annabelle is not a porcelain, gothic-looking doll like the movies portray. The real Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, gifted in the 1970s to a nursing student.
Yeah, so we're gonna ask this question at the beginning, and we're gonna ask it again at the end. But is Annabelle truly cursed, or was this doll just stitched into a terrifying legend? You know, really, honestly and truly, that I don't think we can answer that here for real or anywhere.
Right. So she was given to a nursing student from her mother, named Donna, and she lived in an apartment with her roommate Angie when strange events began to happen.
Yeah, I guess we should say that, this started in the 1970s, right? That's when her mother gave her this gift.
Yes.
Um, so okay, let's see. All right. So Donna lived with her roommate Angie when these strange events began to happen. And at the core cause of it was Annabelle, really. The doll was found changing positions. They didn't see it actually moving and changing positions. They would put the doll down and it would move into different positions, or it would move from room to room on its own when nobody was looking, right?
Right. And handwritten notes began to appear that said, "Help me," written on parchment paper, which neither woman owned.
Well, that's kind of a spooky thing all of on its own there, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I believe I would have got rid of this doll.
For sure. Burned it. Something
Uh,
would happen.
Yeah, so these two roommates started growing uneasy about, what was going on here. So it started to kind of build fear and the sinister behavior kind of started to escalate. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure that I believe in that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't take any chances.
Right.
Yeah.
At, at first, they dismissed the movements. Maybe they had forgotten where they placed the doll, but soon Annabelle was found in different rooms entirely, even when the women were certain no one had entered.
Yeah, sometimes the doll's arms and legs would be crossed. The posture would be different, and it looked like it had been deliberately arranged.
Right. And the
And
handwritten notes weren't just strange, they were written in a childlike scrawl on papers, on, like we said, on paper that the people didn't own.
yeah, and the request, or like help me, and it just seemed to grow in this. It just seemed to grow to almost a creating a plea of a desperate tone, right?
Right. And one night, the doll appeared on Donna's bed, positioned in a way that felt intentional, not accidental. And this shift from harmless oddity to disturbing and threatening presence created an atmosphere of dread in the apartment.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but if I had found that doll on my bed in in a disturbing position, whatever that might be, and the scribble scrabble notes, that thing is going, it's probably not going to Goodwill, but it's going somewhere other than my house.
For sure. And I don't know, Raggedy Ann dolls were so they're not as um they're not as scary to me as porcelain dolls. And I had a grandmother that one that owned porcelain dolls and then a different one that made porcelain dolls. And she was very, very good at what she did. And I still have some, but I don't really have them up in my house because they do are kind of creepy.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Raggedy Ann dolls do look kind of, playful.
Yeah.
So let's get into the friend Lou's experience, right? So Donna's friend Lou, who immediately felt uneasy around this Annabelle, even before the strange event started to escalate. So Lou must have a sixth sense, maybe,
Maybe. Maybe.
maybe.
He reported to have a disturbing dream. Annabelle climbed into his chest and tried to strangle him.
Oh wow. So here's a little factoid here. Lou woke up with deep claw-like scratches across his chest. And even though no one else was in the room, think about that, man. That I don't know, like he could have done it to himself, but he had these deep claw-like scratches across his chest, and he just had this dream about Annabelle. Like, I don't know.
Right. And they healed within 2 days, apparently, but an unusual detail that fueled suspicion of the supernatural.
Yeah, so Donna and Angie, they kind of started to seek help.
Hmm. They were obviously shaken and they decided they needed outside guidance.
So, what do you do when you have something that you feel like is possessed, right? You contact a medium and you hope they can find you some answers of why, what, when, who, maybe.
Hmm.
Maybe get the
Who,
spirit out of
what,
there.
when, where, and why. So, during the seance, the medium claimed the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins.
Hmm. So, according to this medium, Annabelle Higgins had died tragically at age 7, um, on the land where these apartments that where Donna and Angie were living at, right?
Hmm. Well, and that spirit said she felt safe with Donna and Angie and wanted to stay with them.
Mm,
So
okay.
she started possessing a doll.
Basically, that's what the medium's saying. That's not what we're saying. That's what the medium's saying.
Right, right.
So the question of the identity here. So the story of a lonely little girl started to tug at these two women. But it also gave, that eerie possession to kind of stay too, right?
Right. Them trying to keep this little 7-year-old spirit safe, they let her have permission to stay. Well, so Annabelle's story of a lonely little girl tugged at the woman's compassion. But in that compassion, they gave her permission to stay.
Hmm. So paranormal investigators would later, warn that this was really not a child spirit at all, but a demonic entity. And it was in disguise of this innocent little girl just to gain the trust of these two women.
And this was the turning point. What seemed like a haunting had become something very much darker, an invitation for possession.
So I'm gonna pause this right here for just a minute. So we got one um one of these mediums saying, "Oh no, this is a little girl." Then we have another medium or paranormal investigators who say, "Oh no, this is not the spirit of a little girl. This is a demonic entity." Now you done invited this person to stay. Mm, I don't know, man. I don't
Right.
know.
You got to be careful, if if you believe in that kind of thing, you got to be careful who you're letting in to your house.
Yeah, I say we enter Ed and Lorraine Warren here. These were paranormal investigators and they were active from the 1950s all the way through the 2000s, right?
Right. I remember watching a lot of a haunting on like TLC, or maybe not TLC. I don't think they had it on there, but there was a show called A Haunting, and they were in a lot of episodes. A lot. They were associated with some of the most famous hauntings in America, including including the Amityville Horror and the Perron Family Haunting, the basis for The Conjuring, which is one of my favorite movies.
Two of my sons just went and watched the new one that just came out.
I can't wait to see it, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to the theaters.
They went to the theaters. We should really do one on Amityville Horror. Maybe that's next Halloween.
Sounds good.
Okay, but let's get back to Annabelle. So, when contacted about Annabelle, the Warrens immediately sensed the presence of something much darker than the innocent child spirit that the original medium had told them, right?
Right. Their conclusion was Annabelle was not haunted by a little girl at all, but was being manipulated by a demonic entity.
So we're back to this demonic entity now.
Two against one here.
Okay, so let's talk about the warning that the Warrens explained to. So let's talk about their warning here. So the Warrens explained that the supposed Annabelle Higgins story was just a deception by this demonic entity that had taken control of this doll, right?
To gain the trust and permission to stay.
Okay.
And the warning was to their warning to Donna and Angie. Every moment the doll was kept in the apartment, the entity's hold grew stronger. And left unchecked, it would ultimately possess a human host, not just the doll.
All right. I'm not a naysayer. If you believe in this, that's your jam, and I'm not gonna jelly it up. I mean, that's your jelly. I'm not gonna jam it up. However, I don't believe in this stuff, but if I had these people tell me this, that doll is gone. I'm sorry. We wouldn't even have a show here because that doll would be gone.
Right, right.
So, so let's talk about, the exorcism and the removal of Annabelle, this haunted doll. So, the Warrens, these paranormal investigators, they arranged for a priest to come in and bless the apartment and to perform the exorcism on the space to kind of get rid of this demonic host out of Annabelle.
Hmm. So Donna, Angie, and Lou were relieved, but the doll itself was still considered too dangerous to leave behind.
You know, so the Warrens took Annabelle into their own custody, and in the early 1970s, marking the beginning of her life under their supervision. So,
Hmm.
all right, so Donna, Angie, and Lou gave custody of Annabelle now to the Warrens. So they have Annabelle, and this is somewhere around the 70s, right?
Right,
Okay.
right. No, no phones, no nothing. All right, not even internet.
Yeah.
Okay. And even during transport, Annabelle reportedly caused car trouble and near accidents, further convincing the Warrens of her malevolent power.
Yeah. mm, Car trouble, near accidents. I mean, that's you could say that could be you could have a bias to that because you could already have car trouble, but I mean the handwritten notes and stuff like that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a double-edged sword. I
Right.
think before we get into the
Occult
occult,
museum.
yeah, I think before we get into the occult museum, we should take a small break. What do you
Sounds good
think?
to me.
All right.
Sounds good.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for your favorite band, team, or TV show, maybe that movie? Since 1969, Old Glory has been the ultimate destination for officially licensed merchandise, with over 300,000 items in music, sports, movies, TVs, and popular culture. And you have Christmas coming up. Have that hard to find person that you're looking for? Check out Old Glory. At checkout, use our exclusive listener discount code and get 15% off any product. All you have to do is put InfoGo in at checkout. That's InfoGo at oldglory.com. You can find the link in the show notes.
Are you too hot at night? Well, say hello to the world's softest sheets. Cozy Earth's bamboo sheet set keeps you cool, dry, and comfy all night long. It's made from bamboo. They're moisture wicking, breathable, and get even softer with every wash. Did you even know that you can make sheets out of bamboo? I didn't. I thought that was awesome. And they have pajama sets. Pure cozy elegance, stylish, silky, praised on Good Morning America and in style, and backed by thousands of five-star reviews. You can't beat the 100-night sleep trial and free shipping on over $50, plus a 10-year warranty for sheets. 41% off any product with code INFOGO at cozyearth.com. Make sure you find the link in the show notes.
All right. So,
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
so now that we're back, I'll take on the first part and you take on the museum's visitor stories. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. So the glass case. So the Warrens, they take Annabelle to the occult museum. After removing the doll from Donna's apartment, the Warrens placed Annabelle in a specially built glass and wooden cabinet in the occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut. So this case was marked with a bold warning sign, and I'm going to read it verbatim here. Warning, positively do not open. So it's in this case with this huge sign that says "Do not open." So the case was regularly blessed with holy water and prayers from certain priests to help contain the entity within this case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even Lorraine Warren admitted that Annabelle made her uneasy, despite decades of exposure to haunted objects and, like you said, doing all those shows, going into other places. Annabelle still resonated with her years later.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we have some visitor stories. One of the most infamous stories involves a young motorcyclist who mocked Annabelle during a visit, but he reportedly banged on the glass, daring the doll to do her worst. And on his ride home, he lost control of his motorcycle and died in a crash, while his girlfriend survived.
Dang. I bet now his girlfriend was behind him going, "Don't do that, Roy. Don't do that. That doll is cursed."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and Roy was like, "Baby, that doll ain't cursed. Watch this. Come give me all you got."
Hold my beer.
Well, that's probably why he wrecked his motorcycle then.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Don't drink and drive, kids.
Right. Others who visited and disrespected the doll have claimed to suffer accidents, illnesses, or streaks of misfortune afterwards. But these stories reinforce the belief that Annabelle's presence was not just psychological, but dangerously real.
So Annabelle becomes legend. Over time, in the occult museum, Annabelle was the centerpiece. It overshadowed every infamous artifact in the museum. Visitors traveled from around the country just to come and see her case.
Hmm.
For believers, um, Annabelle represented proof of evil's ability to attach itself to everyday objects, right?
Right. And for skeptics, she remained a chilling example of the power of story and suggestion.
But really, either way, Annabelle had stitched herself, like my little pun there,
Hmm.
into the paranormal legend. So Annabelle is a paranormal phenomenon that still remains today.
Yep, absolutely. And then, of course, you got Hollywood and the Conjuring universe.
Okay. You want to do that or you want me to do it?
I got you.
Okay.
And she was first introduced to audiences in 2013's The Conjuring, and that was directed by James Wan. For cinematic effect, the filmmakers redesigned her as a porcelain doll with cracked features and exaggerated creepiness. Very different from a real Raggedy Ann.
So it goes back to what you were saying. The porcelain is going to be way more creepier than the Raggedy Ann doll. So when you see the movie and you see the doll, it is actually no resemblance whatsoever.
You know, yeah. Fun fact, I worked at a haunted house once, and that was really fun, by the way. But the very first room that you would walk into was set up kind of like an old Victorian style attic. So, really, really high ceilings and closet stuff and whatever. Um, I was dressed up like a giant porcelain doll with a cracked eye, like one of the eyes was missing or
Tell me
whatever.
you've got pictures of this.
I don't, unfortunately, but it was pretty epic, and I got rewarded for scaring small children. I was congratulated.
Yeah, I would have loved to have done that. I've never been in a haunted house. I've been to some. They just back in the day, I used to be that thrill seeker. I love the horror movies, would go do the haunted houses, and now it's just like, it's all the same.
Yeah.
But
That
The
was my
Conjuring,
favorite room. I also was dressed as a zombie, but then got mocked about, being too pretty to be a zombie. Excuse me.
I'll let it that out. Um, okay, so let's get back to Annabelle. That's pretty cool though. That's a fun fact. That's a factoid about cat.
Factoid about me.
I love that. That's pretty good. So the fictional Annabelle went on to become a star um, in her own film trilogy. You had Annabelle in 2014, Annabelle Creation 2017, and Annabelle Comes Home in 2019. So, I mean, she's making bank out there in her little box.
hmm
Yeah.
Who's now owned by Matt Rife, since, the Warrens have passed on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the films dramatize and invent backstory, of course. They skyrocketed Annabelle's fame, making her one of the most recognized horror icons of the 21st century.
Yeah. Annabelle quickly became a modern horror symbol. She joined the ranks of the fame like Chucky, Freddy, and Pennywise. And I don't know, but that clown in Pennywise creeps me out.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
the book is way worse, I mean, way better than the movie. Um, and
Hmm.
yeah, I like the book way better than I did the movie. And Freddy Krueger, I don't know, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, when I first saw it, it was really good, and he really did creep me out. Chucky, I'm not doing Chucky, and I'm not doing Annabelle. Sorry,
Mm-mm.
the
No,
the dolls coming to life. I'm just not into that.
I'll stick with Toy Story. Thank you.
Yeah, those are some good dolls that came to life,
They were helpful, sort of.
kind of.
Um, but she inspired Halloween costumes. You got merchandise and haunted attractions around the world.
You can buy her merch.
Right. I'm sure there's a link somewhere.
I'm almost certain of it. And in real life, the Warrens Annabelle, she still remains in her little glass case. And but in pop culture, she became a character with her own mythos.
hmm And her Hollywood transformation definitely blurred the line between fact and fiction, ensuring that even skeptics knew her name.
I think we should be the first ones to advocate for this. I think Annabelle should have her own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Absolutely.
No, you thought that was funny?
I think that is funny, but there's, the
I
whole
mean,
Hollywood star Walk of Fame is,
well, I think Chucky should have one too. So, you know.
well, there's Chucky. I think
Well, Freddy Krueger, if you're gonna do Chucky, you got to do Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger first, for sure.
What about Jason? He's got more movies than anybody.
Yes, might as well do him as well.
Freddy versus Jason. Oh my
hmm
gosh. Um, like I guess let me get back into this. Skeptics versus believers, right? So
Yeah,
I'll take on the skeptical perspective, and you can do the believers argument. How about that?
fair enough.
Okay. So, skeptics argue that Annabelle's legend is solely fueled by psychological suggestion, and it really is confirmation of bias. And it really goes back to arguing, people see what they want to expect to see, whatever that might be, We don't know what how those notes really got there, right?
hmm
And the Warrens themselves have faced criticism. They've been accused of embellishing and dramatizing cases to gain that media attention and to kind of popularize, their show or the show that they were on. And then you got some that claim the story of Annabelle is just a classic example of folklore that was in the making there, where each retelling of it just kind of magnifies the fear and the details get more darker and deeper, kind of like what we talked about in Spring Hill Jack. Um, so to kind of sum up what I'm talking about here, to skeptics, Annabelle is more of a symbol, really, than a threat. It's a doll with a reputation that has a spirit all on its own that could be demonic. But to skeptics, it's just merely an object that we place that preference on.
Right.
How did I do?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
So the believers say the believers counter with reports of consistent and unexplained phenomena. The scratches on Lou, the written notes, and the stories of misfortune tied to Annabelle's case. The infamous motorcycle crash and other visitor accidents are seen as proof of her reach. And the involvement of the Catholic Church, of course, with priests blessing both Annabelle and her case, is cited as validation that even religious authorities took her seriously. And so, for believers, dismissing Annabelle's imagination ignores the mounting evidence of her dangerous influence.
Um, we kind of see both sides here. I guess really, the real question is Annabelle truly dangerous, or is she simply a vessel for human fear?
Right. And whether haunted or not,
Her story?
story, whether haunted or not, her story has definitely endured over 50 years, growing into one of the most well-known paranormal legends in the world.
In the world, Annabelle. Sometimes the scariest power of an object, um, it can have power. It- I guess really what I'm trying to say, an object doesn't really have the power. The power is in the belief in the object itself. So whether you're a believer or whether you're a skeptic, there's both sides to each story. We're not here to jam you jelly. We're not gonna do that. We're just laying out the facts here. Personally, I don't know how the handwritten notes got there. If I had to guess, I would probably say Lou was chicken scratching it just to get rid of the dog because the dog creeped him out, right?
It's possible.
I
That
don't
is
know.
a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing darts at the wall here, but to each his own. But I mean, this is truly one of those Halloween stories that, captures the imagination.
For sure. And so, but Annabelle doesn't run, she doesn't scream or bleed. She just simply sits with her stitched smile intact.
And she's not a Freddy Krueger. She's not a Chucky. She just sits and smiles back at you.
Hmm.
So the real Annabelle doll is still in the Warren Occult Museum. She's still secured in her glass case with that big warning sign on it that says, "Do not, under any circumstances, remove this doll from this case."
Right.
And, paraphrasing, and with prayers, right?
Yes. Hopes and prayers that she never escapes.
Yeah, hopes and prayers that she never escapes. Don't go tapping on the glass, people.
Right. This is not, the chick from Nemo. Hi, fishy. It's not one of those. All right. Just leave her alone. So that calm, still nature of the doll may be what makes her most unsettling because danger is implied rather than overt.
Dolls historically symbolize innocence, childhood, and safety. They're prime vessels for fear when something seems a little off.
Anything that has to do with children screams fear when something's a little off.
And honestly and truly, we see things we want to see. Our brain kind of trains us to see things we want to see. So,
Right.
Annabelle could be possessed to some, and to some, maybe not. I don't know.
Right. But her story, like I said, has persisted for over 50 years, and that blends the real events, the paranormal investigation, and pop culture.
So, again, regardless of belief, she is a cornerstone of modern paranormal lore. She's influenced horror films, Halloween traditions, and she's a cultural icon, right?
Hmm. But here's a thought. The scariest power may be our own fear, stitched into the fabric of an ordinary object.
So yeah, I didn't know Annabelle was like the basis for The Conjuring.
I well, no, I didn't know she was the basis for The Conjuring either because the I'd watched, like I said, that show A Haunting, and it wasn't A Haunting in Connecticut. That was the movie that came out years after this episode had aired. Um, so I knew it was about the Perrin family and what they had gone through. But I love paranormal movies, anything having to do with the paranormal. And
Well,
on one hand I do believe, but then on the other hand I don't. So I'm like a mixed bag here. You got a
yeah.
rational thought, and then like, I do want to believe in spirituality, stuff like that. But I'm
Well,
also far too rational to let myself go that far.
true. Here's my thing. If I had this doll and it was moving around from room to room and it had these little scribble scrabble notes, that thing would have been gone a long time ago. And I wouldn't be calling anybody to come look for it or anything like that. It would have been up in a blaze.
Right. We'll just go on ahead and burn it and get this out the
Yeah, I mean, let's just go on and get it over with. That way, if you're playing a joke on me or if this thing's really real, we're gonna go on and solve that problem now.
way. Right.
We're not gonna invite you to hang around. We're gonna invite you to leave town.
Absolutely.
I,
I saw a video of a father whose son had this a doll or something, teddy bear, something like that. And he kept moving it on the sun and freaking the kid out. And so, they decided to burn it. Well, the father then got said teddy bear or doll or whatever out of the burn pit and again set it up in his room.
oh my gosh, Ted, he's marked that kid for life. He's messed him up.
Yes. Yeah. That was that was kind of the story. So dad, tell him what you did to me when I was
Yeah,
this
that,
age.
that's cruel, man. That is cruel. I
I
thought
can't
this
remember
was
what sparked that, but yeah.
yeah. I thought this was a fun little Halloween episode for us.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you would like to support this podcast, tell a friend and help get the word out.
Yeah, if you would like to help us keep the show going, you can do so at Patreon. You can find the link in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you so much.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
You can subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
And leaving those reviews helps others find us. You can also email us at,
Info on the Go podcast at gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.